Anybody else just doom scrolling Twitter for a Jonas Brodin update, or is that just me? Minnesota Wild get a 4-0 win over the Anaheim Ducks, in which John Hynes said, "We're blending it all." He threw the whole thing in a blender heading into period 2. We will discuss all that and what we see tomorrow, especially on defense, in tonight's Locked on Wild postcast. The doctor will see you now.
You are Locked On Wild Postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Minnesota Wild pick up a 4-0 win over the Anaheim Ducks. What a weird game this was. They're all weird this season. Honestly, exactly what you need to do against the Anaheim Ducks. And I liked seeing John Hynes essentially say what we're doing is not good enough and blend the whole thing heading into period 2. But I got to tell you, it really is all secondary to me, depending on what is going on with Jonas Brodin. And that play did not look great in any stretch. Gets hit along the boards. His leg kind of gave out underneath him, and I think best case scenario is that he comes back at some point this season, but I got to tell you, I think that may have been the last that we see of Jonas Brodin. And so that's obviously a big blow that this team is going to have to overcome. But let's get to the good that we saw. Filip Gustavsson recorded the shutout, and it wasn't what we saw from Marc-Andre Fleury in his shutout against the I think the Coyotes. It was the Ducks actually got some shots on goal, especially in that first period. The Ducks actually had a little push to them in that first period, but after that, it was all Minnesota Wild. And you get goals from Ryan Hartman. You get another goal from Kirill Kaprizov. You get another goal from Jake Lucchini. You get a goal from, who am I forgetting? Jon Merrill. So congratulations, Jon Merrill. Now I'm going to have to do the hot chip challenge at some point here soon. And can't wait for that. But, a lot of good, exactly what you need to do against this Ducks team. But I do credit John Hynes for saying that first period is not good enough. And so he fixed that, but again, this is all overshadowed, and I am nervously scrolling the Twitter machine to try to see what is going on with Jonas Brodin. The fact that he was ruled out of the game, and there was not even an attempt to bring him back in. That's not great. So, the stats, I have, officially, John Hynes has no update on Jonas Brodin, courtesy of Joe Smith. They're hoping it's not too serious. Well, that's a relief. I guess we'll wait and see, though. What I wanted to start doing more of is go through the stats overview for the game. And so we will be joined again by JD Hernandez of Locked On Ducks for this one. He'll be hopping in here shortly. Shots were 32-27 in favor of the Minnesota Wilds. Hits were 16 for the Wild, 17 for the Ducks. Here's the big one. 36 faceoff wins for the Minnesota Wild compared to 18 for the Ducks. The Wild were 1 of 5 on the power play and 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. Wild blocked 10 shots, Ducks blocked 16. So the fact that the Wild just curdled the Ducks in the face-off circle here this evening was encouraging. Boy, 50 people in here already after a 9 o'clock puck drop. Denny's here, Mike's here, Tracy's here. All of the usual suspects have hopped in here. 50 people already on the stream. 5 minutes in on a 9 o'clock puck drop. Love to see that. Let's go through some of the highlight performers, and I'm hoping that my computer doesn't conk out, because let me tell you, I am exhausting the full bandwidth limits with March Madness. I had March Madness on in the background, had the game on. Oh, of course, we're all degenerates in here. So I love to see that. Highlight performers: Ryan Hartman, 20 minutes, 56 seconds of ice time. He had a goal, he had an assist, 3 shots, 3 blocks, a hit, no penalties. And he also won 14 out of 20 in the faceoff circle. That's a solid night of work for Ryan Hartman here tonight. Otherwise, you had Kirill Kaprizov. Am I back? Kind of. I think I'm back. I think we're back. I think we, like the Wilds, are very back. All things aside. So clearly that is not a great bit. So I'm just going to stop with the standout performers. Clearly that's a sign to not do that. Can I just laugh about something tonight? Can I just laugh along with you at something tonight? So you had the line blender to start the second period. You had Marcus Foligno with Matt Boldy and Ryan Hartman. You had Kirill Kaprizov with Marco Rossi and Matt Zuccarello. Third period, or third line tonight. Murat Kuznetsov with Marcus Johansson and Freddie Gaudreau. Tell me why. Like, all I want to do is just scream Backstreet Boys. Tell me why. Help, please. Please help him out. I'm begging at this point. Just give him some help. Please. That's all I'm asking for. But we'll talk more about that, because the captain has officially announced the news Sunday, we are tearing the whole thing down from the top, all the way to the bottom, all the way to the lowest levels of the organization, lighting it on fire. I am going to get Denny set up, and I'm just going to get out of the way. So Sunday is going to be legendary, folks. So you do not want to miss Sunday at noon. Be there or you're going to hear all about it. I'm going to be keeping track. I'm going to be keeping track of who's in the stream. If I don't see you in there, you're going to hear about it. So also tonight, Adam Beckman gets onto the score sheet. He played 8 minutes. Not as much as I certainly would like, but contributed with a point. He had a shot on net. He had one other shot that did not hit the net. So 2 shot attempts, 2 hits in 8 minutes of ice time. Another instance in which just feels like you could get a little more. Feels like he's able to give you a little more. Same thing for Marat Huznadinov, who picked up an assist, his first career NHL point in 13 minutes, 48 seconds. Huznadinov, 1 assist, 1 shot on net, 2 hits, and he won 6 out of 9 faceoffs. So Huznadinov, in 2 of his 3 games so far this year, has won 6 out of 9 in the faceoff circle. The other game, he won 2 out of 6. So good stuff again for Marat Huznadinov. Hey, you know what would be super is pairing the 2 of them together. Just a thought. We also saw this was an interesting one too. Declan Chisholm and Brock Faber switched places, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit because we got some company here, just like we did for the last time the Wild played the Anaheim Ducks. Let's bring in our friend JD Hernandez. JD, what's happening? That was something by those Ducks here tonight.
Something is one way to put it. Yes. Oh man. I don't know what to say about this team anymore. I mean, getting shut out 3 of the last 4 games, getting outshot, outplayed, out-muscled for the most part, reverting to not clean plays, taking dumb penalties. It's just all a mess. But the tank is on. The tank is officially on for what it's worth.
The tank is officially here. I want to get your thoughts on this because I don't have anything to go off of here. But it felt like there might have been a message on the Minnesota Wild side of things because their play from the first period to the second was noticeably different. Like there might have been a little bit of a torts session in the first intermission because it looked like a completely different team coming out of the gate there for period 2.
I'll admit I didn't watch much of the first period. I'll admit why I was watching Jeopardy.
You definitely made the better choice of the 2.
I definitely did. From what I was watching, because I had both on, Minnesota still looked like they were playing well, but they just weren't finishing, and they just weren't getting it wasn't as crisp. So whatever happened between period 1 and period 2, I bet it was something as simple as just clean it up, be more precise, and do a couple of little things to help. As far as the Ducks, they just had a forgettable second period. So I think a little bit from column A, a little from column B. Anaheim just played worse. They played undisciplined in that one. It was bad.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other adjectives for their play, but at least Leo Carlsson got into the game. Now was that his first game back in, or has he been in since the last time we played?
It was his second, so
Okay.
he's still looking good.
Yeah.
I still like Leo Carlsson a whole lot, to be honest. He's still one of those guys where I say let the kids play, and he's one of them. Leo does drive offense. He does get his opportunities. He had at least one good chance on this one that I thought could have been a goal and wasn't. But yeah, aside from the kids, there wasn't really a whole lot to write home about. I mean, Cam Fowler had an awful game. By the way, thanks Cam for doing nothing on one of those goals. Good job.
We got a few of those too. It's contagious. Is somebody gonna rescue John Gibson at some point here? Especially like it was just the full encompassing entire game on that power play goal where he's fully sprawled out to try to make the save, and there are just four wild players just continuing to just jab at the puck, and then all of a sudden it finally goes in. It's like, dude is given everything he has out there, and
no kidding,
not a lot in front of him.
I've said this several times. Just give John Gibson a taser at this point. Give him a taser and just let him go to town on his teammates that leave him high and dry on defense. It's a curse. I don't want to say it's a curse, but it's an affliction for this Ducks team for the past 5 seasons. Just give him the taser already. Just a little bit of let him go at his teammates. Some of whom are still there, by the way. The defense has not helped him at all. The Ducks are starting to revert back to some of the things they did last season when they set an NHL record for most shots allowed in a season, by the way. Starting to get back to that. Yeah, this was like a whole watch I did on record. There it is. There's the record. They're starting to get back to allowing high danger chances once again, allowing easy entries. Time in and time out. What was that about? Good Lord.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because the last few times these two teams have played, it has been anything but like stress-free, exhale, kick your feet up. But this was, of the last probably 3 or 4 times these teams have matched up, this was the least stressful of them, which I'm totally fine with. But it's just one of those where I don't have to tell you about it because you've seen this type of performance just too many times to count at this point.
I'm ready to go into the cookies soon. I'm ready. I have my chocolate. I have my cookies. I'll save that for my podcast. But this has been going on all season long, really the past 5 years. It's the same crap over and over again. And Minnesota took advantage of that.
Yeah.
They took advantage of pretty much every mistake the Ducks made. They took advantage on the power play again because the Ducks are taking too many penalties again. It's like we're saying the same thing we said last week.
It's like a repeat. Good note by Britt here. Murat Huznadinov's NHL debut was against the Ducks, and his first point of his NHL career came tonight against the Ducks. So
I did notice that.
I thought he was really good again in this one, but our audience, myself, I feel like he's a player that can give you more than you're asking. Like, it feels like he can give you a few more quality minutes than what he's currently being asked to give.
Wait, you mean someone that plays hard? What's that like?
Somebody plays with the potential to surprise you?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, I can't even and I think it was in the start of the second period, they asked the Ducks coach, pretty good first period. What did you think your team's playing? He's like, well, it was and anytime you have to kind of turn the car around, so to speak, to start one of those interviews, it's not great.
Oh, he knows it's not great.
Yeah.
Rick Cronin knows it. He knows the parts he has right now could be better. He doesn't have the same guys he had at the start of the season at all. By the way, I love watching these comments flying by. There's a couple of really good ones here that I'll address because I'm here. How many lottery? I love this one. How many picks do the Ducks need to finally be competitive? Yeah, every single one. And that's assuming they actually don't lose on the lottery. The Ducks famously had the best odds to land Connor Bedard last season. Do you remember this? There was a 3-minute window between when pick 4 was revealed and before picks 1, 2, and 3. Pretty much everybody on Twitter said, we want the Ducks to get the number 1 pick. For 3 minutes, everybody was rooting for the Ducks because they didn't want those other 2 teams to get that number 1 pick. And of course, Chicago did. So it's gonna take some luck as well.
I do have to say, I just fired up the old tankathon. I'm glad I'm not making the pick for you guys because I simmed it once and I dropped you down from 3 to 4.
Why would you do that?
Sorry.
That's not good karma.
To be fair, though, Chicago dropped down to 3. San Jose gets Macklin Celebrini. At least in this, let's see how many times it takes.
It's fine. It'd be worse.
Oh yeah, no, we're going in the wrong direction. I'm gonna stop because this is some like cosmic energy I did it again and you dropped down to 5. I'm gonna stop.
Why are you doing this?
I need to stop. JD, did you have a chance to see the Brodin injury?
Oh, you mean the hit that Alex Killorn laid on Brodin that may or may not have been clean? Yeah, I may have seen it a couple times. You want my thought on it?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good hit. I don't think it was a clean hit. It was unnecessary. Play that Alex Killorn did not need to make. And look, I'll call it both ways. If the Ducks are wrong, I'll call it. If they do something stupid, I'll call it. This was not a necessary play. It was a dumb play.
Yeah.
Alex Killorn just did not need to make. And that sucks to see Brodin hurt like that, like not putting any weight on his leg. Yeah, I didn't like it. I really didn't.
Yeah,
and this is the kind of crap that I've hated from the Ducks all season long, is having these stupid hits, having these unnecessary plays. It's been plaguing them for most of the season. So that's one reason why the Ducks have kind of driven me a little bit nuts this season. So it's another example of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen an update. The hope is that, well, actually, I take that back. There was an update that I'll share for the listeners here. Where John Hines has no update on Brodin. Encouraged he was able to skate off. They're hoping it's not too serious. That's what we've got at this point. I would imagine he's probably not going to play tomorrow. But I would imagine they'll get an update on Friday.
As long as he doesn't leave with a walking boot or some kind of cast, then I think he'll be okay. I just did not like it.
Yeah, and it's something too where if a Wild player would have done that to the Ducks, I would have done the same thing. Like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So So yeah.
Don't worry, Wild fans. I'm not a homer or anything. I'm not Brian Hayward. Well, I call out our announcers too in Anaheim.
Oh, the one you mean when the broadcast team says that a particular player is playing better than a young player because the young player hasn't had any points because they've been playing on a fourth line role for the whole season and getting like 6 minutes. Like I love that kind of stuff.
Hey, there's a reason the Ducks broadcast team is ranked 31st in the league. I'm just saying.
Well, it's better than the 4-letter network production tonight was astounding again.
Astounding is a word. If you want to go with that, Seth, that's completely fine. By the way, no, but you actually have solid announcers in Minnesota. Like they're good. Watching the Ducks broadcast team, ESPN, believe it or not, a little bit better.
Yeah, they lean very positive. Very positive. Like I'll never forget this last year. In the series against the Dallas Stars. This is like seared into my memory. The last game of the season, you just have been eliminated from the postseason, and the home broadcast team had a graphic on the screen that said Minnesota Wild 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. I'm like, that's
you know what's going to happen.
I was like, why are you doing this? Oh, we are
Valley's apologists in Minnesota.
We are we are very split. We are very split in the comments on the Bally's broadcast crew. Very
better than Anaheim. It is better than Anaheim. I implore the Wild fans to try to stomach a game with the Ducks broadcasters, then come back and say, you know, we don't have it so bad.
Oh, yeah, it's something else. Any other thoughts from tonight's game, JD? Otherwise, I'll let you kind of get things going for the episode, and I'll join you. I'll join you in a bit.
Aside from the drinking that I'm not going to drink because I got a game tomorrow night. The Firebirds game, so I can't really drink too much tonight. The Ducks need some help. They need a lot of help. They need a revamp on forward. They need some guys back, and they need some changes. I mentioned this yesterday on my little therapy session. Coaching staff needs to change, especially the assistant coaches. That's got to change big time. And they need a little bit of luck in the draft this year. Mm-hmm. They cannot just fall to 4th or 5th. Seth, do not manifest the Ducks falling in the draft again. Yeah. I cannot take another year of them falling from where they should have been.
I'm not gonna touch. I am not gonna touch the tankathon again because we need the Ducks to be going up. We do not need them. We don't need them to be moving further down every time I touch the sim. So I'm gonna hold off.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I'll give some praise to Minnesota. They stomped on Anaheim when they had to. Anaheim just gave them a little bit of life, and Minnesota took advantage. That's what a good team does. That's what a team that's desperate to get into a playoff spot is going to do. Minnesota's showing that they still have something. They still have some life, and playoffs are not out of the question because I saw the standings right now. It's a solid chance.
3 points back. If you can beat the Kings, then all of a sudden you're 1 point back. They've gotten to this point so many times this season where they get to within, you can leap a team. You can hop past a team if you just win. And so let's say they beat the Kings tomorrow night. They just have not been able to do that next step, which is to then go beat St. Louis on Saturday.
Mhm.
Like they've got themselves to the front. They got themselves to the diving board, but every time they try to dive into the pool, they miss.
Yeah, but looking at the schedule up ahead, I think Minnesota has a decent shot. They just got to convert on some of those wins against lesser teams. So we'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, Kings they have to play a ton of games against the West or against the Pacific Division the rest of the way. Vegas plays most of the Central Division teams the rest of the way. So
are you going to be rooting for other Central teams against Vegas? Is that what I'm hearing?
I feel so dirty even saying that. Like,
but
I have no choice though. I mean, but here's the other thing too, is I think a lot of people are hoping, hey, if you get that second wild card, you play Vancouver.
You never know.
That might not be the case. That might not be the case.
You never
anymore.
know. I'm not convinced for Vancouver making a deep run. This year.
It could also be that number one spot in the West goes to Winnipeg, Dallas, or Colorado.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Minnesota being one of those teams in the playoffs? That could happen. Hey, it's the NHL playoffs. All you need is a chip in a chair, and you never know what's going to happen. We've seen teams with low seeds make it all the way to the Cup final. In one case, win the whole thing, and that's a team that you're playing tomorrow. What was it? 2012. The Kings were an 8 seed. They won the whole thing.
Florida got to the Cup final as the 8 seed last year.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, chip in a chair. That's it.
Chip in a chair and Pierre-Luc Dubois not scoring.
You say that, watch him score twice tomorrow.
We definitely jinxed that last week. So
yeah.
No Pierre-Luc Dubois scoring tomorrow night, but
no, he's not good enough to score again.
Yeah, he got his goal for the month out of the way.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping in, and I'll be hopping on with you for Locked On Ducks here in just a little bit once I get things wrapped up here. And listeners, make sure you check out JD at Locked On Ducks for all of your push to the tank thoughts the rest of the season. Oh God, yes, it's a Pocky chip in a chair, a Pocky chip. We're doing it.
Oh man,
yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. So
your fans are great.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for hopping in. I'll let you go get stuff ready for our episode, and we'll chat with you here shortly.
All right, I might eat some chips or something on the podcast. I don't know. I'm in a mood. All right, see you in a bit.
Sounds good.
Wild fans, take care. Good luck.
All right, listeners, let's hop in to some of your comments here to finish. I'm going to quickly break, though, but then we'll come back and we'll talk through some of your comments about tonight, tomorrow, whatever you would like to discuss here to finish things off for tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. The Minnesota Wild pick up a 4-0 win over the Anaheim Ducks. We've got more on the way after this. Tonight's episode of Locked On Wild is brought to you by Sleeper. And with the final month of the season upon us, there is still time for you to win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether top-level players like Kirill Kaprizov, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, or Jason Robertson will record more or less than their sleeper projections for categories such as goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. All you have to do is fill out your lineup. It takes less than 60 seconds. And if you're a fan of other sports, you can also play daily fantasy NFL, NBA, MLB, and college football on Sleeper too. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Tonight's Locked On Wild postcast also brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. The 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. All right, welcome back to tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. Let's get things rolling here in the comments. Wild win by a score of 4-0. And let's talk about what we saw here tonight. So if you've got comments, we got a lively comment section here because of the Bally's discussion. Oh yes, let's throw this out there. We have added a Discord server to the mix. And so if you are somebody who is looking for a supplemental spot to hang out, Discord is more of a chat type setting with, a bunch of different places to hang out. We've got we'll put the link in the next few videos for you to hop in if you would like to. Looks like Sam just did. So welcome into the Discord server, and we'll keep things rolling here. All right, Eddie, let's talk about losing Dewey's number 1 and Dewey 2, and keeping Gaudreau is an irrational but continuing irritant. You're telling me, like your PK2 now is some combination of Jake Lucchini and who else got PK time tonight? Jake Lucchini and Freddie Gaudreau. And honestly, so here were their forwards that played on the PK tonight. Marcus Foligno, Ryan Hartman, Freddie Gaudreau, and Jake Lucchini. And so I guess if Lucchini is the placeholder for Eriksson Ek, that's one thing. But, let's not forget that the other night Marcus Johansson got penalty kill time too. I don't know. Is Matt Boldy not capable of playing the penalty kill? Is Marat Huznadinov not capable of playing the penalty kill? Again, it feels like you are just settling for, well, he can do it because he's done it before. It's I don't know. You can get away with it against the Anaheim Ducks, but the Los Angeles Kings are not the Anaheim Ducks. Jon Merrill from pylon to pile driver, an NHL success story. Middleton coughing that puck over in the slot with 2 minutes left was painful to watch. Almost single-handedly blew the shutout for Gus. There were a few instances in which the Wild tried to hand that shutout off to the Anaheim Ducks. Thankfully, they weren't up to it, but I mean, yeah, I don't know, folks. I'm rattled because my brain is still trying to process what this defense is going to look like with Jonas Brodin out. If he does indeed miss some time here, I would imagine he'll for sure not play tomorrow. So can we take guesses as to who is going to hop in? I would imagine it is going to be the Goose, which I'd rather it be Dakota Mermis, but we all know how this goes. Goal against the. That's pretty much it. So what we will probably see from a pairings standpoint is Faber Middleton. That won't change. Bogosian and Chisholm. And then Goligoski and Merrill. Oh, I'm getting nauseous. It's just the entire summation of how this season has gone. Is you get to the point where things are starting to maybe click, and you have an injury that pops in. Free Damon Hunt. Is it not Damon Hunt's chance? Is it not his time? It just doesn't seem like it. And it's funny too. I don't know if anybody saw Michael Russo's assessment of the D prospects. Not great. Not great of not a great assessment of where the Iowa Wild defensemen are at this point. That was concerning. So at this point, I guess we're stuck with the vets. Tyler's got a question here. What's up, Tyler? Is Marat going to be an all-star since he got his first point so quickly? Can't wait to digest the episode. Tyler, thanks for the question. I would love nothing more than for Kuznetsov to go on the Rossi path. And let's consider this too. Kuznetsov ended up finishing with a point tonight while also having Freddie Gaudreau and Marcus Johansson as his line mates. Imagine what he could do with other players in those spots. I'm hoping that if he continues to play that good defense and really just be super good in the faceoff circle, that'll play on this team, because the face-off thing is very hit or miss with a bunch of other guys on the roster. And so if he continues to just impress like he has, he's going to have to get the minutes. Like we talked about it in today's episode. Like I know the notion of you got to earn it is just a prevalent one throughout the NHL, but like you have to put players in positions to be able to succeed. Damon Hunt should never have been sent down. I fully agree with Denny's assessment. Fully agree. Like, they're like, it's settling. Like, let's look at some of the performances here tonight. Marcus Johansson, 15 minutes, 51 seconds, 1 penalty and 1 hit. 1 penalty and 1 hit. Oh, I was going to talk about this too. The Philadelphia Flyers, John Tortorella, he benched his captain. He benched Sean Couturier, healthy scratched Sean Couturier, because he was not playing up to par. And the reporters had a field day with it. But you know what? Torts said after the game? He said, these are the 20 guys that give us the best chance to win tonight, and we're going to war with them. And so don't tell me that it's not a possibility to send a message. He was on a stretch of like 20 plus games, as Eddie notes here, without a goal. And John Tortorella said, I don't care that you are the captain. You're sitting. So you mean, like, it's other teams do it. Other teams do it. And Torts has done it to multiple players this season. You can send a 1-game message and say, hey, you're not up to par. And so now you get to sit and think about it. You know what happens at my job if I don't perform up to par? I get called into my boss's office and we talk about it and say, what's going on? This report was not satisfactory, or your on-air shift was not what we are, not up to our standards. It happens in other lines of work. It can sure happen here. Like, oh, we remember the Parise benching day fondly, be like. So here's how that played out. That was because Parise stayed on the ice for an extra shift. It was a game against the Vegas Golden Knights in Parise's last year here before he was bought out. He stayed on the ice for an additional shift because Marcus Foligno had 2 goals. He was trying to get him a hat trick. And by staying on the ice too long, he got blown past because he was tired. And the Golden Knights scored the game-tying goal in regulation, and then they won in overtime. And Dean blew a gasket and said, that's not how we do things here. He benched Parise for the next game. Now, I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, wow, that's quite the statement to make. But we haven't consistently seen that level of accountability. It has happened. Remember Ryan Hartman getting sent to the press box for a game last season when he was just on an absolute penalty rut. Got sent to the press box. Jon Merrill got sent to the press box for turning the puck over a ton. We've seen some examples of it, but you've seen let me just lay it out there for you. We've got it in front of us. The number of games in which Marcus Johansson has had 1 or fewer shots this season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. 38 games in which Marcus Johansson has contributed one or fewer shots, and the most common refrain, but Seth, he's not a shooter. You got to give something, though. You got to have something to offer to the table. That's why we saw Marcus Foligno thrown into the top line, is because Marcus Foligno may not be an ideal fit there, but he can go win a board battle. You have to contribute something to your line. You have to contribute something to your line. That's all I'm saying. And this is the other part of it. If he was, I think we fall into this vein with Freddie Gaudreau periodically. I feel differently about Gaudreau than I do about Johansson, because I think Gaudreau is just not particularly talented, but at least he's trying. Like, I don't get that sense. Johansson it feels like he's just out there a lot of the time. It feels like he's just kind of going through the motions. Like Freddie, at least, okay, he contributes on the penalty kill. He'll win you face-offs. So it's not like he's not out there. He's clearly trying. He just does not have a lot of offensive skill. But Marcus Johansson, 38 games this season. 38 games this season in which he has had one or fewer shots on net. That's a number. That's a stat. And for the Johansson is actually trending towards what would be essentially a standard year for him that we've heard from the broadcast. Marcus Johansson is now on pace this year for 11 goals, 22 assists, and 33 points. That's not a standard season for him anymore. Like, that's below average. So, just look like you care out there. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Actually, that's not all I'm asking. I'm also asking you to hit that like button, if you would be so kind, to further help get the reach out for our beloved postcast. Please just tap the like button. If you like seeing Murat Huznadinov play, hit the like button. If you like seeing Kirill Kaprizov score goals, hit the like button. If you want to see me do the Pocky Hot Chip Challenge, hit the like button. Mojo reminds me of Pierre-Marc Bouchard. You know who my uncle said I looked like back in the day for Wild players? I'll tilt off to the side so that people can be the judge. My uncle said that I look like Pasquale Dupuis. Four of Johansson's 9 goals are against his former teams. Yeah, and those are some of his highest shot outputs too. We could be getting so much more from those spots. Could just be getting so much more from that second wing spot. And just think, I was going to point this out in Saturday's show, I think it was. Anybody familiar with Logan Stankoven? for the Dallas Stars. Rookie off to a pretty solid start. But he was put in a third line role on a very deep Dallas team. And they said, just go do your thing. But guess who his line mates are? Guess who his line mates are that are allowing him to, I think he's got 8 goals on the season already. Stankoven. He's playing with Jamie Benn and Wyatt Johnston. How much fun do you think Jamie Benn is having playing with those two guys? And you can do that because somehow Sam Steele's playing in the top 6. Our second line wing is the worst in the NHL. I don't think that's an exaggeration either. Like 38 out of how many games have we played now? 69? 38 out of 69 games. You are getting 1 shot or fewer from that second line spot. And that's a prominent minute spot. That's real bad. It's just not great. I did want to get to this, and then I think because we've got another one of these late games coming up tomorrow night too, I think I'll kind of start to wrap up. But thoughts and prayers to the family of Chris Simon, who passed away. Played the final few games of his career with the Minnesota Wild. Awful situation. Just, there are a lot of athletes that are struggling out there. The effects of playing are they stay with you long after you're done. And this is just a tragic situation, and wish his family nothing but the best. I do not have, unfortunately, Dan, I don't have any lettuce. Like none at all. It's pretty balled up here. So it's okay. That's why I do this. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. Minnesota Wild pick up a 4-0 win over the Anaheim Ducks. We'll see if we get a better update on Jonas Brodin. And it's a must-win game tomorrow night. You got to beat the Kings. Got to beat the Kings. Have to beat the Kings. Absolutely have to beat the Kings. I can't say it enough. I can't emphasize it enough. Have to beat the Kings. So, beat the Kings. It's as simple as that. It'll be David Riddick in net. So beat the Kings. Yes, we'll I can do this tomorrow night. I can pop the link in so that listeners can hop in and discuss after the game. I will absolutely do that. So be on the lookout for an episode coming tomorrow, although it's 1 a.m. right now. It may come a little later in the day, but we've got an episode coming up for you tomorrow. We will have a postcast for you after the game. We got you covered in our normal manner. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to Locked On Wild so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. We've got new content for you, plus pre and post game content as well, all week long as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure to join our Discord server if you have not already. Great place to hang out and chat during games as well. So you can find the info for that on our social media platforms. And yeah, we'll be back with you tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Locked On Wild. Have a great night. We'll catch you in the morning.